Yo, what's good, people? It's your man, super awesome and cool. And today we got to talk about something heavy, something that's been all over the timelines, all over the news, and definitely all up in the barbershop debates. We're talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs. Now, I know, the allegations are serious and we ain't making light of none of that, but this is a thought experiment, a what-if scenario that could have some wild implications for the culture, for business, for everything. We've seen the raids, we've heard the whispers, we've seen the man who built empires looking like he's fighting for his life, his legacy. But in this crazy legal system, anything can happen, right? Innocent until proven guilty is still the standard, even if public opinion already got the pitchforks out. So let's just marinate on this for a second. What if P. Diddy is acquitted? Let's dive into how this could skyrocket his influence and popularity. It sounds crazy, but stranger things have happened, and the game is the game. Think about it. A full-blown acquittal after this level of public scrutiny and federal attention? That ain't just walking out of a courtroom. That's a resurrection in the public eye for some. It could flip the whole narrative on its head, and the shockwaves would be felt from Wall Street to the block. We're talking about a potential seismic shift in how people see him, how the industry moves, and what it means to beat the odds when the whole world is watching. So, buckle up, because we're about to explore the possibilities. First off, y'all gotta understand something fundamental about the American psyche, and especially how it plays out in media and celebrity culture. People are suckers for a redemption arc. We love a comeback story. We live for the narrative of someone getting knocked down, dragged through the mud, counted out, and then somehow, someway, rising from the ashes. If Diddy gets acquitted after all this, he instantly becomes the protagonist in one of the biggest comeback stories the culture has ever seen. It's not just about being found not guilty, it's about beating the system, especially a system that many feel is designed to chew up and spit out powerful figures, particularly black men. Imagine the headlines, the talk show circuits, the think pieces, Diddy vindicated, the unsinkable Puff Daddy. This ain't just a legal victory, it's a cultural moment. It positions him as someone who faced down the government, faced down public condemnation, and walked away clean. That narrative is powerful, man. It's the stuff of legends. In a world where allegations alone can end careers and acquittal, a full-throated not guilty, would be like a superpower. It's a narrative of resilience that, whether you like the man or not, becomes undeniable and incredibly marketable. He'd be framed as the ultimate survivor of a smear campaign, a modern-day phoenix. Now let's keep it a $150. There's a strong and frankly often valid undercurrent in our community and the culture that successful and powerful black men become targets. Whether it's the IRS, the feds, or a media pylon, there's this perception, backed by historical precedent, that once you reach a certain level of influence and wealth, especially if you're black, they will try to find a way to bring you down. An acquittal for Diddy? Man, that would pour gasoline on that fire. It would be Exhibit A for everyone who believes there's a concerted effort to dismantle black empires and neutralize influential black voices. He wouldn't just be P. Diddy, the music mogul and businessman. He'd become a symbol of surviving an alleged establishment takedown. For a significant portion of the population, his acquittal wouldn't just mean he's innocent of the charges. It would mean he was a victim of overreach, a target of a system looking to make an example out of him. This perception, true or not, would galvanize support. People who were on the fence, or even those who were critical, might start looking at him as a figure of resilience against systemic pressure, a David who slayed Goliath, even if Goliath was the US government. That's a powerful shift, making him more than just an entertainer again. An acquittal is more than just a legal outcome. It's a blank page, a chance to snatch the pen back and write your own damn story. Right now, the narrative around Diddy is controlled by allegations, by speculation, by the media frenzy. But if that not guilty verdict drops, boom, he gets to reclaim his voice, his image, his legacy on his own terms. Think about the power in that. He could do the big sit-down interview, not the defensive kind, but the "I told you so, I went through hell and back" kind. He could drop a documentary not just about his career, but about this ordeal, framing himself as the survivor, the one who weathered the storm. We've seen this play out before, maybe not on this exact scale, but the blueprint is there. Look at Meek Mill, how he turned his legal battles into a platform for justice reform. Think about Michael Jackson after the 2005 trial. The vindication was a major part of his ongoing narrative, even posthumously. Or even Tupac, whose controversies and legal issues only added to his complex, almost mythical status. An acquittal would allow Diddy to step back into the spotlight, not as a defendant, but as a man who stared into the abyss and didn't blink. He could control the interviews, the appearances, the message, and that's a powerful position to be in, after being dragged like he has. There's an old saying in showbiz, and it's cynical, but sometimes it holds true. There's no such thing as bad press. Now, that's debatable, especially with the kind of heat Diddy's facing. But let's be real, his name has been on everyone's lips for months. He's been the lead story, the top trending topic. If he's acquitted, all that intense media saturation, all that global attention doesn't just vanish, it transforms. It morphs from a cloud of suspicion into a testament to his resilience, a badge of honor for having gone through the ringer and come out the other side. The curiosity factor would be through the roof. Suddenly, everyone who is glued to the drama wants to see the aftermath, the victory lap. Music streams? They'd probably surge with people revisiting his classics or looking for new material. Brand interest. Companies who might have distanced themselves could see an opportunity to align with a story of vindication and survival. Retrospectives on his career, his impact on music and fashion, they'd all get a second wind. The sheer volume of media exposure, even if it started negative, lays the groundwork for a massive wave of renewed cultural relevance if the narrative flips positive with an acquittal. He'd be hotter than fish grease, not because he did something new, but because he survived something huge. Chapter 5, Teflon Don status, surviving the fire, forging the myth. In hip-hop culture, let's be honest, there's a certain mystique, a certain street cred that comes with navigating and surviving serious legal battles. It's not necessarily about glorifying wrongdoing, but it's about the narrative of being an outlaw, of beating the odds, of being too big to fail or too clever to be caught, even if you're innocent. If Diddy walks away from all this acquitted, he doesn't just return to his previous status, he potentially gets elevated. He joins the ranks of artists who faced the fire of the justice system and didn't get burned, or at least didn't fold. That adds a layer to your legend. This ain't just about older fans who remember his come-up in the 90s. For younger generations who might only know him as a wealthy older figure, seeing him beat charges of this magnitude could make him a mythic figure. It's that Teflon Don aura. It's the story of resilience, of being untouchable that resonates deep within the DNA of hip-hop. An acquittal would add a new, dramatic chapter to the P. Diddy saga, one that speaks to overcoming immense adversity. That kind of story, that kind of perceived strength enhances your legacy and makes you a subject of fascination and, for some, admiration, regardless of the grime involved in getting there. Chapter 6. The Great Flip, from public enemy number 1 to misunderstood victim. The narrative shift after an acquittal could be monumental, man. Right now, in the court of public opinion for many, Diddy is already wearing the villain hat. The allegations are out there, they're disturbing, and people have formed their opinions. But a not guilty verdict from a court of law has the power to challenge all of that, to force a reevaluation. Suddenly, the story isn't just alleged abuser. It becomes man falsely accused. Man who had his name dragged through the mud and was proven innocent. That's a powerful flip. And if any part of the investigation or the trial process is perceived as unfair, heavy-handed, or, let's be real, racially motivated, which, given the history, is always a possibility people will consider, then an acquittal doesn't just clear his name, it can actually generate sympathy. He could transform from the predator to the prey in the public narrative. This shift could strengthen his influence, especially in circles that are already skeptical of the justice system or attuned to racial bias. Activist groups, cultural commentators, even everyday folks might start championing him as an example of someone who was targeted and triumphed. That's a whole new level of support. Chapter 7. The rebrand Puffy's next act, elder statesman or philanthropic force. Alright, so he's acquitted. The dust settles a bit. What's next? This is where the strategic rebranding comes in, and Diddy, if nothing else, has always been a master marketer and strategist. With the right PR moves, an acquittal is a golden opportunity to pivot, to reshape his entire public persona. He could shed that bad boy for life image, which, let's face it, doesn't hit the same when you're in your 50s and facing these kinds of allegations. Instead, he could lean into becoming a more mature figure, perhaps a misunderstood genius, a cultural elder, or even a champion for certain causes. Think about it. He could launch a major philanthropic initiative, maybe focused on justice reform or supporting those falsely accused. He could produce a series of deep, introspective documentaries, not just about his trial, but about the broader implications. He could even take on a more advisory, behind-the-scenes role in the industry, a respected OG. We've seen artists attempt similar rebrands after controversy. Kanye has had his numerous rebound moments trying to shift narratives. Dr. Dre, after his own past issues, cultivated an image as a meticulous producer and tech visionary. An acquittal gives Diddy the ultimate platform to say, that chapter is closed. This is who I am now. Outro, the aftermath Diddy's Phoenix moment, or just a legal loophole. So, there you have it. It's a lot to chew on, right? The idea of P. Diddy not only being acquitted but potentially emerging more influential, more mythic than before is a wild concept, especially given the current climate. But the dynamics of fame, justice, public perception, and the power of narrative are complex. An acquittal wouldn't just be an end to a legal battle, it would be the start of a whole new chapter, a chapter that Diddy himself would have a huge hand in writing. This ain't about condoning anything or predicting the future, it's about understanding the mechanics of how these things can play out in the real world, in our culture. The redemption story is powerful. The we against the system narrative resonates, and in an era of constant media exposure, surviving a storm of this magnitude can, paradoxically, elevate you. He could rebrand, reclaim, and even expand his empire, turning what looks like a potential career-ending catastrophe into a stepping stone for a new kind of legendary status. But that's just my take, breaking down the possibilities. The truth is, nobody knows what the future holds. So if P. Diddy is acquitted, his influence might not just recover, but expand, making his brand stronger and more mythic than ever before. What do you think? Am I bugging, or is there something to this? What's your take on how this whole situation could unfold if he walks? Let us know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like content like this.